what's in the Constitution, but it's not as transparent as how the budget will be allocated to the student organizations. I don't know if it's been working on or will be passed as an amendment anytime soon, but that needs to be done in order to know how student organizations will be recognized and how a student organization will be given allocated a budget. And
the principles of recognition, which you can find on the
but there aren't any clauses that specify under a student organization recognition committee about what it specifically does.
So I was a member, so I can probably speak. So we work with the DOS, even though now it's going to shift completely to the student government.
There will be a member of the DOS.
Yeah, they will sit on the meetings, of course. And there's also like a table where we fill in the criteria that the student organization needs and doesn't need. And the student organization is given direct feedback about that and are allowed to chat with us. So it's very transparent in the sense that they can also appeal back and say why they haven't been given enough budget or what changes they want. So it's definitely an open door kind of a setting.
That's brilliant, but I think it should be there in the Constitution itself.
So the issue with that is that the matters pertaining to the budget.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Thanks. This debate very informative.
I just want to know the amendment, like
Yeah.
that you guys want. So just state the amendment. I don't want the rationale. I don't want to know like the long justification of it. I want to know the amendment.
All right, sorry, Glenn. Was that the only one?
The other one I think would be an evaluation for awarding the student organizations on the basis of the events that they organized, on the basis of, we set as criteria on evaluating a student organization, they may apply for the award. So
Okay,
that
evaluation of student orgs.
Yes,
Anything?
that would, and the other one?
Yep.
Amendment, maybe an ad hoc committee, standing committee for assault and peer support, student support kind of thing.
Okay. Glenn?
So it's a lack of, standing.
Yeah.
Let's say we can start working and see what problems we face and then from there.
Cool.
Nothing.
None?
Logical flaws within the election code. How the transition.
So just to clarify, none for the Constitution.
Sorry?
For the are you
Yes,
talking
no,
about the
no,
election
within-
section in?
yes.
So that's not the election code.
Sorry.
All right.
And the also changing how presidential and vice presidential elections work within just the general.
So you want it
election
to be
system.
together?
I'm not sure together. I'd like to see other people's opinions on that because the way it was made was on Saturday morning right before
Oh,
it was
so we
due.
separated it already.
They're separate right now. So
Yeah.
the elections for the president and vice president occur after the council, and I think that causes major voter fatigue. And I think that is also contributing to why the student population doesn't appreciate the government.
Okay. None from Saza?
Does the current constitution have only one semester as its term?
It's an academic.
One academic
You
year.
can serve for only one semester if you are not resident.
And
All right, cool.
It's a very simple question that I have. You guys have been very nicely talking about how you want to contact the student bodies prior and ask them what their problems are. But I believe, I might be speaking for myself, but I believe from my very minimal interactions within the groups I usually provide in, I believe the student government currently does not even inspire the minimal confidence that people will participate enough to come up with and share the basic problems with you. So I just want to know what you guys think would be your first steps to do that. Like the very first steps to kind of rebuild this confidence with the student body, not long-term goals exactly. You know what you think.
Short word would be engage more, student body,
Sorry.
engage,
Yeah, how exactly how you plan to go
reach
about
out.
it? I mean, ideas are great, but if you have any more concrete plans, policies.
I mean, that's what I said. Whenever there's a physical event with people already gathering, student government should have a physical presence there itself so that people don't need to treat interaction with the student government as something, go meet the student government again. So whenever there is an event with an already established physical presence of the student body, the student government should be proactive to ensure that there is a student government presence as well to sneak in interaction with the student body as it is. Yeah.
I just want to, I'm not sure how we're going to engage. Like, I feel like on a human level, if you go out and talk to people, that's a way that you can engage people. I think the unfortunate thing that's happened so far is that anybody who's run for government has gotten into government. And I think that lack of competition has created a system in which like people may not necessarily be sure who would may not necessarily trust the people who are going into government just because like it was just so easy to do so. So I think our part of our challenge would be just on a personal level, having people develop that kind of trust that you want people to have in the government, and having that kind of trust in us as individuals as well. And once we as individuals have managed to gain people's trust and have that trust as well on the government, I think that's when moving forward with future governments that it creates a kind of legitimacy as to who are the kinds of people who get into government and serve on government as well.
Anyone else? Or we'll take a final question from Isaac.
Sure. So this is a short case competition or just a short discussion. Does everyone know about Lizzie the cat? Raise your hand if you do.
The cat.
Lizzie the cat.
Yes. So that has taken action already. It was she was unfortunately labelled as a particular nuisance on campus. Some actions were done by students, and it's being resolved as of late. Now I want to ask: should the government have been involved in it? No. Why? And if yes, how so? This is particularly for freshmen first, and then upperclassmen later.
I think the government should not intervene in the issue of Lizzie the cat, primarily because it isn't really strictly within the purview of government to handle issues that, how do I define this in concrete terms? Basically, Lizzie the cat was a question of the student body's opinion on something that the student government is not responsible for the student body's interaction with, basically. Lizzie the cat is not Yale NUS property. Lizzie the cat is not a student, as far as I know. And so the interaction with the student body with Lizzie the cat is really restricted between the two. So that's why a student organization, which is composed of students, has a better purview of taking up the issue of Lizzie the cat with the student body than an organization like the student government.
Thank you. Charlotte?
So I think the Lizzie the cat issue, if there has been significant discourse among the student body about it. But I think if someone had approached the student government to ask like what should be done, I think that's like one way the student government can be reactive towards it, because I think it is an issue which affects from Facebook. It seems as if it is a sizable impact on like the student body, both positive and negative. And I think there was a petition which was going around, and to the best of my knowledge, there were over 200 signatories on it, but it was not really considered at all. So I feel that if that petition had been something done by the student government, which has maybe given more mandate, that might be something which has counted for more. So I think this is one way in which the student government can do something which the students wanted as well. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know, you both go. So.
I think the very idea that Lizzie has been drawing so much attention, because it's been a concern for so many students, and because it's been a concern for so many students, it should be a thing of concern for the student government as well, because we're composed of students and we reflect those views and ideas of the student body. So it should be put in consideration, given that many students are concerned about the cat's presence.
I think with the issue of Lizzie, it turned into a residential issue because when the second complaint came around, it became clear that it was a member of a residential staff that had made a complaint against Lizzie. And so I feel like that is also kind of like the gap that's present between the people who work on campus and live alongside us even, and the student body. And that's something that like maybe Lizzie itself as a situation doesn't sound like a thing that the government needed to deal with, But I think the conflict that had kind of occurred between the student body and the people who signed the petition and the residential staff in question was something the student government should have stepped in to mediate.
Okay, I guess my stance would be no, because I don't think that the student government is there in place of all other student organizations to kind of gauge public opinion and all those things. But I think one thing that Saza said, and she's gone now, but I really agree with, is that, well, nothing was done about that petition because it just came from students. I think that the student government could have stepped in to endorse that petition so that it holds more weight, but definitely not just like kind of shove itself in and say like, no, we're taking over because it's a student issue, because I feel that every student and every student body on campus has the right to represent itself and represent public opinion.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Done.